didn't know that. It's the Shabach show. You know how it goes. If you don't know, now you're gonna know. Cause you tune in to the only Shabach show. It's what you came from. Education and entertainment all just for you. It's the Shabach show. Why you stuck on 25? We report live from the phone just to let you know that it's the Shabach show. It's the Shabach show. Say I ain't never put you on cause you didn't know that. It's the Shabach show. You know how it goes. If you don't know, now you're gonna know. Cause you tune in to the only Shabach show. It's what you came from. Education and entertainment all just for you. It's the Shabach show. Why you stuck on 25? We report live from the phone just to let you know that it's the Shabach show. It's the Shabach show. It's the Shabach show. Say I ain't never put you on cause you didn't know that. It's the Shabach show. You know how it goes. If you don't know, now you're gonna know. Cause you tune in to the only Shabach show. It's what you came from. Education and entertainment all just for you. It's the Shabach show. Why you stuck on 25? We report live from the phone just to let you know that it's the Shabach show. Say I ain't never put you on cause you didn't know that. It's the Shabach show. You know how it goes. If you don't know, now you're gonna know. Cause you tune in to the only Shabach show. It's what you came from. Education and entertainment all just for you. It's the Shabach show. Why you stuck on 25? We report live from the phone just to let you know that it's the Shabach show. It's the Shabach show.
My mic was not unmuted. All right, we're gonna start over again. What's up, people? It's your man D Shabach. You're tuned in to the D Shabach Show from the 404. I got to work on that. So I have my mic muted so y'all don't hear me in the intro, but yeah, we got to work on that. Anyway, today is Wednesday, hump day, but Wednesday means that we are going skating or bowling. And today is the day or the Wednesday that we're going to go bowling at Atlantic Station Lucky Strike. $26 for 2 hours of unlimited bowling. All right, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. So please come out. 25 years old to 35 years old. Come out and enjoy. Have yourself some drinks. Have yourself some bowling fun. Meet some friends that will eventually become your family. You know, as Vin Diesel say, I don't have friends. I have family. Anyway, I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling good. I'm a little, just slight bit irritated. TikTok is one of the most, maybe I shouldn't even be saying this because I don't want to get banned, but TikTok is one of the most sensitive apps known to man. So the software app that I would use to stream normally, saying that I'm not approved, so I had to go through TikTok Live's official app to try to stream, and it's just, it's like, it's one thing after another with TikTok. And what the world? Am I getting a notification? What just happened? I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out what just happened. So, live disconnected. Couldn't connect. Hot computer load. I don't know if y'all still able to hear me or see me. Hopefully. We about to find out. Because it was like a ring. That was so weird. Hopefully y'all able to still hear me. And hopefully y'all don't tune out since y'all feel like I'm having technical difficulties. But that was so weird. I don't know what was going on. Are we live? Let me see, guys. Hold on, see, this is why I be meaning with this technical difficulty stuff. Where you just, the internet and the computer, none of this stuff is reliable. Alright. We are, I think we're live. I don't know. Either way, it's being recorded, so you know, that's all that matters. Well, not really, but we're gonna push on because that is what really truly matters. But yeah, man, this TikTok stuff, and it's TikTok that's acting up. It's like, my God, you keep coming up with a system to try to make things work, and it's like one thing after another. But how has y'all week been so far? It's spring. It is spring, and it felt like it last weekend, and now this weekend they talking about it's gonna be chilly. I'm like, goodness, can we? That's why I don't get excited about spring here in Atlanta until April. April's when we for sure feel in the spring weather, and it's consistent and it's here to stay. Other than that, March is a hit or miss. I remember last year, this time went to not Myrtle Beach. What's it called? Jekyll Island in like the beaches of Georgia, and it was cold, but booty cold. I'm like, what? In March? And it was like the end of March, like around this time. Like, Jesus. But hopefully we live. I don't know. Anyway, how are y'all doing? Do y'all have any spring break plans? That was me trying to do my spring break last year, and it was disappointing to say the least, because that weather, I'm like, what? Is it not supposed to feel good? But anyway, let's transition, move on. For those of y'all who are watching it back, rewatching on YouTube, or you just watching live on YouTube, I gotta keep it live, keep it going for y'all. So let's get into the topic of the day. Topic of the day. Does it matter how black people dress? Does it matter how black people dress? There's a delay in my audio. I'm gonna just try to push. I'm worried about this stuff later because it's all about consistency, not perfection, right? All right, so I saw this video. There's conversation around what should people wear, especially us black people should wear to Ruth Chris. Now, I've been to Ruth Chris like twice. It's okay. I mean, it didn't feel like nothing special, but let's see what this creator got to say. If it will load.
Expect that Ruth Chris video to go viral the way that it did. But I'm glad that it did because it's starting some conversations that need to be had in our community. They just need to be had. And are they uncomfortable for some people? Yeah. But that's where growth happens, in uncomfortability. All right, so the main thing I want to talk about is this whole idea that because we're black, we don't have to present well, or we don't have to put effort into our presentation because we're black. So we're going to get mistreated anyway, so why even put effort into how we present? And I could not disagree with that more. No, it does matter how you present. And see, a lot of people were focusing too much on the restaurant. The restaurant has very little to do. It's a microcosm of the real issue. The real issue is we have to stop having such a base expectation of ourselves. And I'm disappointed that there's so many people that have such a low expectation of black men. It 100% matters how you walk into a room, how you show up for yourself, how you present yourself. Are there systematic issues and barriers in place that regardless of where you live, what you drive, your career, your income, etc., regardless of those things, there's still systematic issues? 100%. But that should not dictate how you, as a man, and I'm talking to men because I'm a man. I'm not speaking to women. That's not my place. That's not my job. As a man, how you present and show up in the world, that should not dictate what you can control. You can control how you show up. You can control how you present yourself. Men walking around with their pants sagging to the ground is not okay. I don't care what y'all say. I don't. That is not okay. And for y'all to feel like that's the standard base image for us, that's acceptable? No, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. I refuse to accept that. And when I have sons, if God blesses me with sons, I refuse to accept that from them. As a culture, as a people, as a community, we have more dignity and class than that. Yes, we do. And if no one ever told you that before, I'm telling you, we are more high class than that. And the crazy thing about it is, we always call each other kings and queens, but I've never seen a king dress sloppy before. So we can call each other kings, but we can't present ourselves as kings. And the other thing about it is this. Some of y'all mothers, y'all would not let y'all's daughters bring home a boy that's dressed like that. You gonna let your daughter bring a boy home whose pants is sagging to the ground, coming in smelling like dope? You know you're not. You know you wouldn't accept that from your daughter. So don't accept it from us as a people. All right, so I did not...
Telling you, it's the internet.
All right, so I did not expect that Ruth Chris video to go viral.
All right, so I'm gonna break it down clip by clip.
The way that it did. But I'm glad that it did because it's starting some conversations that need to be had in our community. They just need to be had. And are they uncomfortable for some people? Yeah. But that's where growth happens, in uncomfortability. All right, so the main thing I want to talk about is this whole idea that because we're black, we don't have to present well, or we don't have to put effort into our presentation because we're black. So we're going to get mistreated anyway, so why even put effort into how we present?
So that is a thing that is subjective based upon how you was raised. I was raised by my parents, and their parents raised them where you present yourself a certain type of way when you step out this house, right? Bonnets, whatever you're wearing in the house, sure. When you step out this house, whether you're going to school, church, work, present yourself. Because as one of these comments say, how you dress is how you will be addressed, right? That's how I was raised. So I was raised to care about when I'm just simply going to the store, making sure that I look presentable. I don't need to put on a whole 3-piece suit. I leave that to my dad. My dad would literally do that. Me, I'm like, all right, cool. I got some sweats, but they look good. These are not the chilling in the house sweats. These are the I'm looking presentable sweats, right? A Nike Tech, cool. Then you have, for men, do-rags. Do-rags can look fashionable, right? Depending on the place. So you just going to Walmart, you just going to, even at the airport, I don't think a do-rag is bad. Here's where it becomes bad. You're going to maybe a spot like a Ruth Chris, STK, Naboo. You're going to church. You're going to work. You're going to certain places that should have a requirement on how you present yourself, right? These are the places where we're trying to wear do-rags. You're trying to wear bonnets. Now, when it comes to women, you can't tell women what they should do. You can't tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. But here's what I would say. You are going to be treated in the way that you present yourself. I'm not saying whether it is right or wrong. What I can say is, unless you are about to take yourself out of the system and go somewhere else, you have to do things to adjust to the system so you can win, right? It's kind of like laws, right? You call a lawyer, right? So therefore, their job is to research, study, and know the law on how they can get you off of the case, how they can make sure that you get away guilt-free or with the less sentences possible. In the same way, we have to understand we are playing a system. Humans are playing a system. It's a class system, right? So therefore, let me present myself in a way that looks like I've been here before. Like this is normal to me, right? Some of y'all, especially women, y'all be taking pictures in front of some of y'all women be taking pictures in front of the Naboo sign or STK or some of these other spots. Why? I get it. You look good, but it's tacky because guess what? The person who done been there 100 times don't need to take a picture in front of it, right? A lot of times, as the saying goes, act like you've been here before. A lot of us, we don't act like we've been somewhere before, right? And this is where it goes to how you was raised. I'm tired of we claiming things to be in our culture that is just bad practice. And then it makes it easy for other people who are outside of our culture to dismiss our entire culture, right? So for instance, I love a good HBCU homecoming, right? Love it. Georgia State, honorary HBCU. I love a good homecoming. But at the same time, we don't have to be butt naked when we go to the homecoming, right? But then, at the same time, I do expect for that behavior at the homecoming. I expect it in the club. I expect it in certain places. But why are we going to the fair? Literally, I went to the fair the other day. In the middle of the day, it wasn't even nighttime. It was in the middle of the day. It was like 1, 2 o'clock in the evening or afternoon. This older woman, she had to be in her 40s, if not 50s, if not 60s. She looked like she had a grandchild. It didn't look like her child. She had her butt cheek all the way out. But I wish I had meta glasses so I could have discreetly recorded it. Because butt cheek all the way out. She's literally having to bend to get on the ride. Her grandchild is right there. And we all just kind of like... Again, time and place, because butt cheeks out on the beach. Do your thing. Butt cheeks out in the club. Do your thing. But at a family event, such as a fair, a city fair, in the same way for men. So what he's talking about, we have to dress accordingly.
And I could not disagree with that more. No, it does matter how you present. And see, a lot of people were focusing too much on the restaurant. The restaurant has very little to do. It's a microcosm of the real issue. Mm-hmm. The real issue is we have to stop having such a base expectation of ourselves. And I'm disappointed that there's so many people that have such a low expectation of black men.
So have a low expectation. A lot of people have a low expectation of black men. And this is why, one, I'm a strong believer in fraternities, and I push back strongly against Christians who say that it is demonic or that you have to denounce. I believe that depending on, because if you understand the culture of fraternities and sororities, you understand that it gets very specific and then it gets very general. So there's the general organization that is represented by the country, right? So all of the alphas, kappas, omegas in the entire country. And then there is regional, and then there is local, and then local is there are different counties: Cobb County, Gwinnett County, DeKalb County, Fulton County, and then there are chapters within those counties, right? Some counties have one chapter, other counties have multiple chapters. And then even within that one chapter, there are different people, there are different vibes. But the overall vibe of a lot of these fraternities and sororities is the mere fact of black excellence. We present ourselves in a certain type of way. I don't know why I said we. They present themselves a certain type of way. So therefore, you look like excellence. You look like someone who is a professional. That is one of the things that comes with joining a fraternity or sorority is, hey, when you're dressing on campus, when you're dressing out in public, you want to wear the letters where you have to present yourself a certain type of way. I was raised by two parents who were in fraternities and sororities when they were in college and even in their adult life. I was raised with a certain standard. A lot of black men were not raised with that same standard. And I've recognized that some of these black men are maybe in my family or close to me, and I understand that. Which is why, you need the elder men, the unks, the OGs, to first of all, they have to have the mentality. Because if they don't have the mentality, then who's going to teach the young men? Who's going to teach the YNs, right? Who's going to teach them that, hey, it's probably not best to sag. If you're going to sag, cool. Why you just go into some spots, but other spots you probably don't want to. You can't be upset that you're being racially profiled, but then you fall right into the stereotype. And I don't mean the slight stereotype, like, hey, we just chilling at the park and y'all want to call the cops on us. No, I mean, you at the park, music, doors open, music loud, and you smoking, right? And you are dressed a certain type of way. Regardless, that is not regardless of race, regardless of prejudice, that is not a way that us black men should be trying to present ourselves. And then my thing is, every black man is not a monolith. We all don't have to dress, talk, or act the same. But you should be aware and conscious enough that, hey, if I'm going to kick it with my boys, playing music, loud, doors open, and we're going to be smoking, how about I do it at one of the cut spots, right? Stop being lazy and pulling up to one of these spots that, yeah, a white neighbor is going to call the cops on you. Like, go to one of the heck, there are places for this, right? So it's the same way when you're going to restaurants. Why can't black people go to expensive places as well? Okay, great. Well, act like you've been there before. Put on some slacks. Take the do-rag off. Like, because first of all, I'm sorry. Guys, tell me, what is the whole point? I know. I think I know. But what is the whole point of wearing a do-rag 24/7? If you can't take that do-rag off in the times when you need to be taking it off, then what's the whole point of even having that hairstyle? I'm going to let him finish.
100% matters how you walk into a room, how you show up for yourself, how you present yourself. Are there systematic issues and barriers in place that regardless of where you live, what you drive, your career, your income, etc., regardless of those things, there's still systematic issues? 100%. But that should not dictate how you, as a man, and I'm talking to men because I'm a man. I'm not speaking to women. That's not my place. That's not my job. As a man, how you present and show up in the world, that should not dictate what you can control. You can control how you show up. You can control how you present yourself.
And that's one of my things. It's kind of like how I feel with iPhones versus Androids. At this point, first of all, it's iPhone versus Samsung, iPhone versus LG. Stop saying Android, right? If you want to say Android, say iOS versus Android. Android is an operating system, right? Because what you're trying to do, you're trying to compare the cheap little Android phone that you get for your 2, 3, 4, 5 year old, and then try to compare it to the top notch iPhone. Stupid, right? So when people are saying, oh yeah, iPhone is better, I'm like, since when? You mean like a few years ago? Like 10 years ago? Sure. Now we are trumping, y'all. We are dominating the phone space. Samsung. And so when people are saying, oh yeah, we better, I'm like, you just one of those folks. It's okay to like what you like, but stop trying to blame it on something else. And as black people, we have a habit of doing that. Oh, well, the white man, What does the white man have to do about you applying to the job? What does the white man have to do about you presenting yourself in a certain type of way when you step out the house? It gets very frustrating where I go to the Walmart and I have to expect that all of the women are going to be in pajamas. All of the men are going to look like they just came from the trap. I'm not saying that you got to wear a freaking 3-piece suit. I'm not saying that you got to be all dressed up. I'm saying care about what you wear. You don't know who you're going to see. That's how I was raised. I was raised that, hey, especially here in Atlanta, you don't know who you're going to end up running into. And now you looking crazy, bonnet on, tank top, no bra, in your shorts that should be just worn at the house, right? For dudes, like you wearing slides and you look crazy. But if you weren't raised that way, maybe I'm not talking to you, right? Because my thing is, a lot of people were not raised to have a standard, and that's fine. I was. Now you're making it difficult for me, right? Because now restaurants got all these policies because you didn't know the appropriate space and place when to wear, what to wear, right? Now they got all these policies. I just wanted to wear some jeans. I have a nice short outfit, right? Top and bottom and matches. It's giving summer vibes. Now I can't wear it because the restaurant say no shorts. They would have been fine with it, but because you walking in there with some gym shorts. So then what is the thing, right? Everyone's like, well, you can't dictate. Everyone's not a monolith. I get it. But presentation matters and everything else. You more than understand that. We are in a culture where we are in a day and time where aesthetics is at a utmost high, where people understand aesthetics the most ever, right? Back in the day, it was feng shui and all these things. Now everyone gets aesthetics. What is your personal aesthetic? Because if your personal aesthetic is the hood dude, by all means, do your thing. If your personal aesthetic is the ghetto girl, by all means, do your thing, right? So if you're looking at Sexy Red and you're like, yes, you looking at how Lil Durk may pull up, how Lil Baby may pull up. All right, cool. But you do realize the only reason why some of those people get treated with high regard is because everyone knows their status. If they didn't have status to them, they would be treated as the regular, typical black person. I'm tired. And then we love to say, oh, well, we should stop. We should not try to compromise based on to fit in the system. Stop cherry picking. Because you fit in the system when you buy the name brands. You fit in the system with your hair. You fit in the system with all the things that you buy, the things that you do. Stop cherry picking based upon because you can't accept the fact that maybe this is who and how I am, and maybe I don't belong in some of these places. Shabach, did you just say you don't belong? Here's the thing. Race should be able to go anywhere and everywhere. Class should be able to go anywhere and everywhere. I don't care if you got $10 to your name. You should be able to go into the finest establishments. But what I'm talking about is, what is your aesthetic? What is your vibe? Dress up. Play T. I don't know. Like think of it as, you know what? I'm just dressing up because we're going to the thing. But a lot of this goes to what I realize is culture of, I grew up where my parents and my grandparents was going to make sure that I looked good and I dressed up when I went to college. I mean, not college, when I went to church. They made sure I looked good for certain specific events that was at school. Oh, it's award day. Oh, it's this special day. All right, well, make sure you put on your suit, put on your dress shoes. I grew up with that as a standard in my own household. And I get it, a lot of other black men have not. But this is the importance of other black men teaching other black men. And y'all other black men who are fine with wearing and presenting yourself a certain type of way, do your thing. You should not change who you are. But understand that certain environments are going to require you to shift a little bit. No different how it is if you're going in space, you put on an astronaut suit. No different how it is if you're going to a job interview, you put on a suit. It's the same thing when you're going to certain places, dress up a little bit. The only shoes you got are J's. You don't have you one pair of loafer. You don't have you one pair of good shoes. Right? Your suits all look baggy. It don't take that much. Buy a suit. You don't even need to get an expensive suit. Get like a $50, $60, $70 suit. Get it tailored to your fit so it don't look baggy on you. And so you have the one suit that you wear every time when you need to dress up.
And walking around with their pants sagging to the ground is not okay. I don't care what y'all say. I don't. That is not okay.
So here's my question, guys. I thought we've have made it like we understand the origin of sagging pants comes from prison and homosexuality. Why are we still sagging in 2026?
For y'all to feel like that's the standard base image for us? That's acceptable? No, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. I refuse to accept that. And when I have sons, if God blesses me with sons, I refuse to accept that from them. As a culture, as a people, as a community, we have more dignity and class than that. Yes, we do. And if no one ever told you that before, I'm telling you, we are more high class than that. And the crazy thing about it is, we always call each other kings and queens, but I've never seen a king dress sloppy before.
So this is where I get frustrated when having these conversations, because a lot of people, they don't know how to approach the conversation on either side. I do feel like he's being a little harsh, but I also feel like other people, they just become very defensive and they don't want to hear anything. I'm like, there's a middle ground, and the middle ground is very simple. Have your personal style, right? They've called black streetwear just streetwear now, right? Like, wear on the street, do whatever you want, wear whatever you want. But when you go into certain establishments, I believe that there's a certain pride that comes into dressing up for that establishment. Oh, we're going here? All right, let me put on my fine stuff. Let me dress up a little bit, right? I'm tired of that dressing up for black people is like going to the club, right? Yeah, that's what you'll wear going to the club, but not going to this restaurant. I don't know, man. But let's move on to the next topic. That's hilarious. So this guy, he's in Atlanta, and he was by one of the clubs in Atlanta, and he observed something.
So I'm out here at El Malo, and I didn't know how bad the laughing gas suction drugs shit is. I forgot the name of it. And let me show you. This is like, I'm publicly outside right now, and they're just walking outside with balloons, tanks. Like, this must be an epidemic out here in Atlanta. They're just selling it. There has to be some serious repercussions to sucking up, this laughing gas, CO2 shit, whatever it's in the bottle. The people buying this are of all types of demographics that I just wouldn't expect to buy this. I'm talking older white women are buying this gas. This is very shocking. Very shocking. Now, usually El Malo, this is not going on. Oh my God, I just stepped on a little balloon. So you sell Trump merch and balloons. The Trump merch.
Bro, I'll fix that. If it was a market for your ass, if I can get you back in the car.
You making the money.
I'm making the money.
And you selling Trump hats. Trump supported the mainly white people or everybody?
No, I do everybody, but it's mainly
What?
Like, first of all, I like Trump just because he's creating problems.
Okay.
So the more problems that they got, the quicker it is for the system to fail.
Okay.
The sooner the system fails, the quicker I get the shit back.
Okay.
Ice though.
Wow.
And when y'all get there, y'all be fucked up. They be sleep. Yeah, I have a better night you bought these damn balloons. I ain't even got no more, dude. I ain't got no more. I tell you, bitch, I ride down here with a motherfucker, bitch.
This is crazy. Yeah, they're out here selling the nitrogen to people. I guess you suck them in, and then you suck the air in, and you feel a type of way. And it's no police out here, nobody's regulating it. I'm not saying anything. I'm just surprised.
Bro, I saw this stuff on what's it called?
So I'm out here at El Malo, and I didn't know how bad the.
I saw that. I saw one of the other ones on TikTok where someone was recording it. I don't know if he was here in Atlanta or in another state. But this is crazy. I would not have believed it if he didn't show it. That's crazy, bro. Like, what is wrong with us? What is wrong with us as humans? It seems like I know what's wrong. But I don't know if we're ready to face those conversations, right? I saw a clip on, I think it was from Shameless, the show. And the guy, white old guy, was saying how when he gets drunk, he gets happy drunk. And the other girl, when she gets drunk, she gets mean drunk. And how there's a difference. And she has to learn how to regulate herself. He's not saying to not drink, because you need a drink, because life is so effed up. You need something to not make you think about the fact that you're going to die. You need something to help you not think about the fact that life is so crazy. So I get it. And because life has gotten so crazy is why we are willing to go to certain extremes with getting high, intoxicated, and yeah. The what's it called? The vape. Now we don't know the side effects of this stuff. And the crazy part about it, the same people who are anti-COVID are the same people who probably vaping. The same people who probably doing this. You know, I'm like, you can't cherry pick. You can't cherry pick. This is why I said, us humans, we don't be making sense sometimes, bro. Because we don't take the same logic and apply it to everything else. We just, I don't know, man. But it's funny because it looks funny. Like you're selling it out of a balloon. This looks like something straight out of a cartoon, right? You know how those cartoons would show that the characters are getting high, but they can't really show it, so they have to make it look like something else. Back in my day, I don't know if they still do this in elementary school. I never did it, but it was like this thing that if you smelled glue, that it will make you get high. I did it once, and I'm like, it just smells nasty. It smells like glue. Like, what are we doing? Elementary school, remind you. All right. Commentary. We're moving on to the next segment. Commentary. How to enter the flow state. The flow, the flow, the flow. The flow, the flow. If I was doing this a few months ago, anyway, let's watch the video. If it would come on, man, I swear, bro, the internet be so just janky. Oh my God, bro. And it's only TikTok. On Instagram, it's smooth. This is ridiculous. I'm so sorry, guys, if y'all are watching.
You used to be able to do this, but then you learned to
now
do it.
I can't do nothing, bro. and I'm gonna just have to start downloading the video. Man, I'm so irritated. I just kind of want to throw the whole episode away at this point. But I got 30 more minutes, and I'm trying to press
through. Then you learn to be embarrassed. What you're watching is the highest state of human experience, and no matter how badly some people want to get here, they'll never be able to again. And this is what I call shared flow. It's when your mind syncs up perfectly with other people's. That means there's no ego, there's no self-consciousness, there's no internal noise, there's just presence. And most people won't get here, not because they don't want to, but because they're consistently fighting themselves. The internal noise, the psychic entropy they have in their own heads. They're thinking someone is watching me, they're thinking someone else is a threat. And even though that's not happening because it's a misjudgment, it's only in your head, it's not reality. It's only going to continue to happen because you believe it's happening. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's your opinion about the situation that's causing your anxiety, your psychic entropy, not the reality of the event and moment. And most people only get a glimpse and taste of this when they're drinking alcohol, when they're drunk and having a conversation and being in front of people, right? The alcohol removes the internal self-deprecating monologue, right? But the entire goal is, because that is so transient, because you remove yourself so often with alcohol, you become attached to it, you become dependent on it to have a good time and achieve shared flow, right? We want to remove that attachment. We want to not need the alcohol. We want to just have that as our default state of being, right? Shared flow, real shared flow, is when you're doing the actual internal work to remove the insecurities, the anxieties, the misjudgments, the psychic entropy you have in your head. And kids do this naturally. If you watch your kid at the playground, you understand they play with another kid with no shame, no ego, of course. They just kind of are in sync and they play imagination. They're not thinking, what is little Susie or little Timmy thinking about me right now, right? And somewhere along the way, us as parents, or just life itself, is, they're taught shame, they're taught misjudgment, they're taught hesitation. And really what shared flow at its core is just returning back to what we were as kids, right? Kind of like being present in the moment without the hesitation, without the, extra thinking. Right, because a lot of what anxiety is just extra thinking, right? You're blowing things out of proportion, and this is the peak of what I teach: Mode 3 shared flow. And you can't get here until you clear the internal noise you have. So follow me if you want to get there, but also see the journey that I'm on, as I'm also further along, but I'm holding your hand.
So, flow state. How to enter the flow state. So basically, just basic human things in a more spiritualish type of language. But basically, I have seen, or from my own experience, I have social anxiety. It's not as bad as others, and other people who have social anxiety may do a better job at masking it versus me. What I've seen, though, is that when I do have a drink or two, it makes me a little bit more relaxed. So that nervousness, that external or internal voice that's like everyone's judging you, everyone's looking at you, and etc., it goes away. But how do you push past that? Quite frankly, there is no real way to push past it besides pushing past it. There's no tricks. I know that he said, like, if you want to learn this, etc., etc. There's no real tricks. The best thing that you can do is to literally not care. Not in a, I don't care, but in a, it doesn't matter. There's literally nothing I can do about it, right? You know how we say, well, what's the worst that she could say? Oh, the worst that she could say is no, right? When you're shooting your shot, right? Could she do worse? Maybe. But 9 times out of 10, if you go up to a young lady, you try to shoot your shot, she's not interested. She's just going to be like, oh, no, I'm good. Thank you. Right? Okay. That is the worst that could happen. Expect the worst to happen. Expect that people are going to be talking about you. Expect that, oh, I'm not good enough. They're not accepting me. Right? They're just tolerating me. Expect that until shown otherwise. Right? But when you expect it, you are now shifting your dynamic, which is, all right, this is what it is. What am I now going to do? Am I just going to stay at home, be a hermit, and just be to myself? Or am I going to still push myself and go out and have fun? Right? So, for instance, tonight we're going bowling. I'm trying to push myself. I don't know how many people are going to come. Right? I got 200 plus people who done saved the video. 7,000 people, over 7,000 people who done watched. Probably about 20,000 between the different posts. I don't know who is actually going to come. It may only be one person, it may only be two, maybe 5, maybe 10, I don't know. But what I do know is I have to just do it, right? I be nervous with going on dates, but you got to just do it. You're going to a function, you're doing this thing, but you got to just do it. This right here is so irritating, right? Because I am doing a show and I fear being perceived by y'all. I fear that y'all see internet going slow. Things are not together. I don't have myself together. I'm stumbling over my words, right? Where I just want to record a video, take 10 takes, but I'm having to push myself. Understanding that some of y'all may not watch it again because like, oh, he had too many mistakes. And you may only watch the clips. Some of y'all may be like, well, I like his thing. It should be like this, should be like that. It is all perception. People are perceiving you. But you got to do what you want to do. I want a certain thing from all of this. So am I willing to push myself to get what I want? And that's one of the biggest questions I ask myself every day. Am I willing to do what it takes to get what I want? Most of us, we're not. So the first thing is, are you willing to naturally do what it takes to get what you want, right? Naturally lose weight, naturally gain confidence, naturally get women, get men, naturally get to a certain level of success, right? But most of us don't have the patience to get there. Most of us don't have the discipline to go to the gym every day, to eat healthy every day, to socialize with the right people, to push yourself, right? Most, for instance, when it comes to dating, most people don't have the confidence to just simply go to a girl in person and try to shoot your shot. I have been trying to push or combat against that by anytime when I'm stepping out the house, I try to shoot a shot. I get dressed, like I was saying earlier, get dressed to present myself because I don't know what fine ting I'm going to end up running into. And so I go in preparation that when I go to the store, Walmart, or I'm going to the gas station, I be going through drive-through. Shoo! You know how many beautiful women be at the drive-through? You prepare yourself to shoot your shot. And so that's what you got to do. But now what has happened? Dating apps. So now what I am having to push through is the fact that, do I need to shoot my shot to this young lady in person? Or can I just try to match with someone online? Do I need to shoot my shot to this person in person? Or do I wait to find her online? The reality is, no time is as better as the current. I see a young lady, go talk to her. The worst she can say is no, and you move on, and you may find another young lady, right? Or the best you can say is, yeah, sure. You'll be very surprised. She actually is interested in you. You came up to her. She actually does find you attractive. Or she been peeped you and she was hoping that you would come up to her. The flow state is not really this thing that you can cultivate. The flow state is accepting things for what it is. So now you're able to enter to that next level, which is, you know what? The worst may happen right now. I may lose my job. I may get into an accident. She may say no, right? The worst may happen. But you proceed with caution. You don't just do things and not care, right? So obviously you got to still drive, but you wear a seatbelt, right? Just like having sex. You have sex, but you wear a condom. You protect yourself. You do certain things to obviously defend yourself against what the worst could be, right? You don't get too emotionally attached until you know. But you still do. Go to the function next time. Don't have a drink. Can you push yourself to, you know what? I don't need a drink. I'm gonna just try to push it out. Right? I don't know why that sounds like pregnancy. I'm gonna push it out with no medication. No noodles. What was the thing? It was noodles. No water or whatever he said. I don't know. But my point is, you see this? I got stuff coming off my lips. I don't know if y'all can see it. If y'all probably not even seen it until I said something. The fear of being perceived. And so this is what I'm trying to push myself with, especially after dealing with a breakup, of, you know what? People are going to see you. You have to take that shot at that young lady. Now she knows that you are attracted to her. Right? She knows it. Now what? Okay, you got to go ahead and try to apply to jobs. Okay, cool. You applied to 20, you got none back. Now what? You have to now move forward. And that's been my biggest thing with all of this. I am trying to mentally create systems, create ideologies that are going to allow me to just stay in that flow state, allow me to just go, allow me to just do, allow me to not care about what's going on. And it's difficult. It's very difficult to be like, dang, I got a minute and 30 more seconds to talk. Dang, I gotta do this. Dang, I gotta do that. But you push yourself. You figure out a way how to get through it. And you'll be surprised how many people are proud of you. How many people are like, you know what? Bro, I be having to smoke every day. I see how you live life and you just sober. You know what, bro? I be having to need a drink anytime I go out. I see how you live and you just sober. And I saw a lot of that from my dad. My dad, he can go to any function, whether it's church, secular, whatever, and he gonna have a good time as if he 5 shots in. You be like, that man must be drunk. No, that's just his natural high. And so, am I like that? Hell no. No. Right? But I've also learned that some of these things just require discipline. Have one shot, one drink when you go out, just to help you get the nerves off, but then push, right? And then you start realizing, you know what, this is not as bad as I thought it was. You know, everyone is not really looking at me. Or people are looking at me, but they're dancing and having a good time as well. And this is why we have to get out of our head. This is why we have to get out of our head and enter the flow state, which is, you know what? It don't matter. So many people limit themselves to having to do things a certain type of way because they're not willing to accept, you know what? It may not go how I want to, but I'm going to just try. I'm going to just shoot my shot. I'm going to just do that. I'm going to do and I've been surprised. Celebrity I done met in person, I'm like, hey, this is what I offer. This is what I do. And they're like, hey, come on. And there's other times when they say, hey, yeah, and you don't hear from them for a whole another year. And other times you don't hear from them at all. But there are also celebrities that I met in person that I did not shoot my shot with. Speaking of shooting your shot to a celebrity, when I was working at Blaze Pizza, I forgot her name, but one of the main characters from Fox's hit show Star, she had came through the Blaze line, and I was talking to her. I was chatting it up. She was smiling and everything. And so when she gets to the end of the line, we about to put her piece in the oven. I'm like, oh, bet. Then I need to shoot my shot. I tell my homie who's working. He was like, oh, you know who that is, right? He was like, that's such and such. What? Shoot. I should do a shot by shot. You never know. But once I found out, I was too starstruck. I was just like, oh, shoot. Never mind then. But let's move on to trending topics. So ICE is replacing TSA now, apparently.
Out with their asses, meaning vote against every single person in Congress.
Let me restart this. Watch this. Instagram is about to be 10 times. You see this? Smooth.
Go. I started talking to you folks about out with their asses, meaning vote against every single person in Congress because they can't get the job done the way we expect them to. And they have made that very clear, that the Democrats are blaming the Republicans and the Republicans are blaming the Democrats. But the reality is that when you go to Washington, you have to figure out how to make deals, how to compromise. They can't do it. They've made that clear. They can't do it. We are now well into a period where for the third time in the last 6 months, the TSA workers are not getting paid. And, you know, in late 2025, they didn't get paid for 43 days. If I didn't pay people in this office for 43 days, there would be an uprising, as there should be. Yet, we are just trying to point fingers at one side or the other and say, well, if you're a Democrat, it's the Republicans' fault. And if you're a Republican, it's the Democrats' fault. And what's going to happen is that you expect to win because your side will prevail. Well, there's still going to be half of Congress that's going to disagree with the other side no matter what. So things are not getting done. They are not capable as a body of compromising. And so what do? Are we just going to sit back and say, well, you know, TSA workers aren't getting paid. There aren't enough air traffic controllers. What happened at LaGuardia? Apparently this guy had to do 2 jobs at the same time because of the staffing shortage. So, you know, at what point do we finally rise up? Are we not at that point now? $39 trillion in debt. That's where we are. That's what our government has done for us. $39 trillion in debt. Multiple government shutdowns. It wasn't this way all the time. It just wasn't. And, you know, Congress is quick to go on recess and, you know, they're acting like, oh my God, we're so put out, we worked on Sunday. Well, yeah, you haven't gotten your job done. And so there are people in Congress who, you know, everybody likes, or at least people in their district generally like. And if everybody says, okay, we'll just keep electing the people we like, it's not going to change. And there are going to be other strikes, and there are going to be other times when the government shuts down, and there will be more of a shortage of critical workers like air traffic controllers, and there are going to be calamities as a result of this. At what point do we try and prevent further calamities? Or are we just going to sit back and say, you know, what happens, happens? It's our country. It's not their country, it's our country. And they're not doing the right job. I am old enough to know that for many, many decades, Congress was able to compromise. They were able to get things done. They no longer can. So why not throw everybody out, even the people you like, to send a message that we are not going to accept anybody who can't make deals? Because that's what Washington is all about. When you've got opposing sides, you've got to come together and compromise. They can't, this group can't do it anymore, or it's become so toxic that they can't. So we need to reset things and tell them, we're going to throw everybody out. And the people who come in, we're putting you on notice that if you don't do what we expected the other people to do, we're going to throw you out too. How else do we regain power? Or are we just going to sit back and say, you know, what happens, happens until there's a terrible calamity or 2 or 3, and you know what I'm talking about, and then all of a sudden people open their eyes. Why are we waiting for that to happen? Out with their asses. OWTA. It's the only way this is going to change. And if you think I'm crazy or stupid for saying this, come up with a better idea.
So yeah, this is this has gotten ridiculous with this. And now, granted, I use the trending topic as ICE replacing TSA because that was Trump's solution. Trump's solution was, I'm just going to replace TSA with ICE. Like, he's not reading the room because he created the room, right? Where no one in America is liking ICE, even his own supporters, right? Because they are attacking his own supporters if they get in the way, if they do too much, or whatever. And instead of the government, Congress, as he said, coming up with a plan. Now, granted, is this Trump's fault? I don't know enough to know what Trump did to start this or what he is not doing to end this. What I do know is there are people outside of Trump who's supposed to be helping making this happen, helping make, you know, the right things happen, which is deals being made and etc. You've seen all of the political shows to understand that behind the door deals, you have to kiss up to certain people to get them to vote this particular way, to do this, to do that, so we all can be on the same accord. What I've seen that's been happening within the past 7 to 8 years, I would say since Obama's administration, after Obama's administration, with Biden, it went to Trump, then Biden, now Trump again, that everyone is so gung-ho on their own party, Democrat versus Republican, Republican versus Democrat, that no one is actually caring about the country. So as long as we win, right? And Trump, quite frankly, helped usher in that mindset, because that mindset has always been there. But when you have a certain administration that's like, hey, we are about the working class American people first, so we figure this out, right? I'm fine with the idea. It's not good, but I'm more willing to accept the idea that the rich men, the politicians, are trying to help and do what they think is best for the middle class, working class folks. Here is where now we're at an issue. They're no longer caring about that. They're just caring about their own political view. They're caring about the headlines. They're caring about how it's going to be perceived, how it's going to look. No one is actually caring about actually doing something to actually fix the problems, right? So I don't know. I don't know what the state that we're in right now. I want to show this though. Hopefully the internet will work well with me. So here in Georgia, we have one of the biggest, here in Atlanta, we have one of the biggest. It must be the streaming, because this is crazy, bro. It's like low. I think it's because I'm streaming on multiple platforms at the same time. This is, I can't even, any other time, I can just simply pull up YouTube. This is ridiculous. All right. Well, another day. Here in Atlanta, we have one of the biggest airports. Let me take this off. Here in Atlanta, we have one of the biggest airports, and the lines are backed up completely, right? People are having to go there 5 hours ahead of time just to make sure that they're good. TSA is nowhere to be found. The little that is there is trying to do everything, right? As TMZ guy was saying, they may be waiting for it to get really bad before they go ahead and make a decision. Where's the pride? Where's the American pride? I don't care if you're conservative, liberal. I don't care if you are Democrat, Republican. Where is the pride in that this is America, and we have to make sure that we are holding Americans and America to a certain standard. Standards have went out the window. There's no such thing as a standard now. I'm tired. I'm tired of it, because the way that we address things in the media, like we used to at least be in a place where crazy things may be happening behind the scenes, but we didn't hear about it. We didn't see about it because there would be a certain tactfulness that was presented to the American people so we can be hopeful, right? This is what comes with being a politician, is that you have to shake hands and kiss babies to make people feel good and feel hopeful so there isn't an uprising. But with everything that's been going on, we are already in the midst of an uprising. Everybody is coming for everybody's head. Nobody cares about actually making real change. Everyone is just so caught up in their own political narrative and agendas. And I'm not going to front as if I know. That's why I tap into certain sources who do a good job of researching and understanding. But even then, sometimes those resources are very biased and you don't know what's real and what's not. It's all exhausting. And I wish we as an American people cared enough to actually make the change. As TMZ guy was saying, vote out these congressmen. All of these people that we just, that we select and that we say, hey, if they're not able to make the change. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much of a politics that your political view that you want to stand on, no matter how much of your political view that you want to stand on, if there is not results, if there are not things happening, if at the end of the day, the American people are suffering for y'all's back and forth, for y'all's beef, for y'all's issues, then what is going on here? So, if anything, I want to get back to the America that lied to us. Let's get back to the America that told us that, hey, we care about y'all and we're going to do right by y'all. But nobody's doing that anymore, right? Nobody cares about trying to have an America that we care about. Everyone is just doing it for their own political gain. So, I don't know. I wish that there was more of y'all to in the chat live so I can get some of y'all's feedback. Because this is ridiculous. I'm only 25. I'm going to be 26 on June 1st. And growing up, this type of stuff was not what I was hearing about. Right? It was beef. There was issues, but it was more.
D Shabach Show.
I'm sorry. I don't know. It has been a day. It has been a day. And remember what I was talking about earlier? The flow state. This is me trying to be in the flow state of like, you know what? Something's going to happen. Something's going on. I don't know. I know that y'all probably irritated. You're probably like, this episode. But then that's the thing. This episode should just chuck up. You know what? It wasn't the best day today, but we're going to come back on Friday with a better episode, and everything's going to be working well and working fine in Jesus' name. But man, I'm tired of politics. I'm tired of politics at this point because it feels like it's getting worse by the day, by the year, by the every term. It's like it just feels like it gets worse and worse. And now we are in a war that we didn't need. Like, this is ridiculous. But let's move on to a little inspiration.
Just a friendly reminder, your boundaries have to be stronger than your empathy. Because if your empathy is stronger, you will keep understanding people who keep hurting you. You'll keep explaining their behavior, justifying their patterns, and giving chances that cost you your peace. And empathy is beautiful. It's one of the greatest strengths. But empathy without boundaries turns into self-abandonment. You can understand why someone acts the way they do and still decide it's not acceptable for you. You can recognize their trauma and still protect your nervous system. You can love someone and still say no. Strong boundaries don't mean you lack compassion. They mean you finally learn to extend compassion to yourself too. At some point, constantly being understanding becomes betrayal. Growth sounds like this. I get it, but I'm not available for it. That's not cold. That's clarity, and clarity is what protects your peace long term. Not everyone who deserves your empathy deserves your access.
And that has been something that I have had to learn over the years, is that just because I understand where you're coming from, why you are going through these things, does not mean that it is my responsibility to accommodate you based upon that. Meaning, I've had people who are insecure, right, who's been around me. They are insecure, and so they tend to point out the insecurities in other people. And I can tell that it's coming from an insecure place, that they've been bullied, they've been hurt, they've been shamed growing up, or even now, right, they're still dealing with that. So therefore, they project onto other people. I can understand where it's coming from. That doesn't mean that I have to deal with it. I don't have to still have you in my presence, in my company, right? We just have to call it. Just be like, you know what? I understand, but we gotta create distance. And the sad part for me has been people have done that to me, but when I do that in return to them, then they have an issue. Or people have done that to me when they should have leaned in more. Then when I do it to them, right? Because I'm trying to lean in, right? Or should I say, when I try to lean in, then I get hurt. I get bit. So it's not an easy thing to navigate. That's why we're constantly searching for the answers. We're constantly searching for videos like this to help us navigate how am I supposed to interact with people? I get it. She was hurt. I get it. He was something happened to him. But how do I keep them in my life? And I've went through some falling outs. Some of them were because I initiated the conversation to try to find the solution to this problem that we were having between this person and I. And you realize, I realized in the conversations that they weren't looking for a resolution. They are looking for people who are just going to accept them for how they are. And if you don't like them, then you could bounce. You know, it's like their way or the highway. And it's very sad because these were people who are close to me, people who you call family, some people who are your family. And you're like, I have to protect my own peace, but I want you to be a part of my peace. But you're not helping create peace. You're not helping be a part of my peace. You're being a part of my problems. And so we have to ask ourselves internally. All right, cool. You can't share empathy with everybody. But internally, are you being one of those people that are difficult to have a relationship with? Are you being one of those people who people are having to walk on eggshells when it comes to your personality, when it comes to the things that you do, the things that you say, right? And I've seen how sometimes people go from one extreme to the other. They either go from they care about every single thing and every single body and what everybody has to say. And then the other extreme is I don't care about nobody. I'm going to do what I want to do. And as much as sassiness, it's also being men too. Which sometimes is heartbreaking because I'm like, dude, I'm expecting you to know better. I'm expecting you to be a man. But it's pride and it's ego, right? And men who operate based upon pride and ego are just as fragile as a sassy man, as a man who operates in feminine energy, as people say, or a man who operates in a very emotional, sensitive place, right? Pride and ego is literally the masculine version of your emotions. I gotta take pride in this. So then when you can't take pride in that no more, now what happens? So I want us to do better, guys. Look internally. Go to therapy. Get help, right? Stop blaming everybody else and your mama. You need some help, okay? I am tired. I'm ready for this show to come to an end. If you are watching this on YouTube, I appreciate you. If you made it to this point where you're seeing this message, that means that you stayed and looked and listened for the whole thing, despite all the technical difficulties. I got to get a soundboard. You deserve a round of applause, okay? Because I wouldn't. Oh my God. Like that's why I'm so hard on myself, is because when I be looking at YouTube videos, people's shows and everything, I'm like, you could have did better. The audio could have been better. The video could have been better. The timing could have been better. So I'm critical on myself, as critical as I am on everybody else. And sometimes it's very difficult when you're trying to figure it out. You're entering into the flow state. But I love y'all. Tune in for the next episode. Peace.